there, my lovely Pop-Tarts. Okay, today we're gonna make a really delicious bread. We are making garlic, tomato, and basil focaccia. I think I love making focaccia the most, but it doesn't sell well at the bakery. I think because a lot of people don't know what it is, but if I take it to events, it sells well there. It's odd. But I make it, I love to gift it, give it away. It has a million uses. So in my mixing bowl, I have, well, I'm making a bigger batch than you, but I will say the ingredients you need and put them here on the screen. Okay, so you need a quarter of an ounce dry active yeast. I don't have a packet conversion. It's not a whole packet, I'm pretty sure. And then you need 2.5 cups warm water. No warmer than 110 degrees. Because we don't want to kill that yeast. I just like to give that a little mix. And this doesn't have to bloom in the traditional sense, but I do like to let it sit for a couple of minutes to let that yeast start to activate, okay? Now, to that, we're going to add garlic. Right now, I have this that I need to use up, so we're using garlic. But I would say you want to do maybe 2 cloves of garlic, finely minced, and we're going to add that right in. We're adding everything right in right now, which is another thing I love about this, that it may be a bit of a process after this, but I love that you can dump everything in. Hang on, it's evading me. Garlic is in. No, it tried not to be. All right, then you need 1 tablespoon of salt. For me, that means I need 2. It may sound like a lot, but when you see how much bread it makes, it honestly just gives it flavor. It does not taste salty. There we go. And now, 5 cups of all-purpose flour. I like to keep this running and add it in cup by cup, letting it get incorporated. So focaccia bread is an Italian bread. It is maybe about this thick, it's a little bit thinner. There are hundreds of variations of things that you can do, which is something I love about it. Because this recipe alone, even if you just take out the garlic, is a great base recipe to make multiple different kinds, because I make at least 5 kinds of focaccia. It can be cut in half, it is delicious, toasted, it makes the best paninis, the best sandwiches. It is absolutely fabulous. And it's really quite easy. That's all of our ingredients in the dough. Now, this is going to be very sticky. That is correct. I mean sticky like, you're like, ugh, I can't get it off of me. That just means you've done it right. So, if you noticed, I'm using my paddle attachment. You don't need a dough hook for this. You really don't. So, it's done, it's mixing, it looks crazy stretchy, and I'll show you. Now, we're gonna let this rest for about 2 hours. We're gonna let it proof. But when I tell you this baby proofs, she's gonna proof over. Put it in a much larger bowl than you think you need to give it all the space that it needs to grow. So let me just show you. When I say stretchy and sticky, that's what we want. It's almost like you can pour it. I'm gonna pour it into a bigger bowl. Here's my larger bowl. You can brush it with a little bit of olive oil. If you only have something like Pam, you can spray it with that. But you are going to want to get a light layer of something in there, because this is very sticky. I want you to see how it comes out. See that? Like I said, it's almost like a batter. But seeing this consistency means that our yeast is already working and the gluten is already starting to develop. But this is a bread that has like beautiful air pockets in it. Like I said, there are so many variations of things you can do. We're going to make sure we get it all. Now, I would start with at least an hour and a half to proof. Proving time totally depends on how humid your area is. I know elevation affects it, so I do not know the high elevation like conversion for this. I'm just going to keep mine, I think, in my kitchen right now, even though the ovens aren't on yet. But I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap. That helps it prove, and just leave it on your kitchen counter or wherever is a nice warm place. You don't need a proving drawer, nothing fancy. Cover it, let it sit, and we'll be back in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I'll show you what she looks like. So while the dough was rising, I went out to the garden and I picked some basil. Now I'm also picking basil to make pesto, so you're gonna see a lot of basil in a future video. And I had a bunch of my cherry tomatoes ready. Oh, dropped one. So I picked those out. Then I just washed everything, sliced those tomatoes, and made sure they were good to go. Out of all of these, only one had vine rot. That's pretty good. I wanted a lot of them to be ready at one time to be able to make this bread. There they are, all gorgeous. There's something about growing your own items to like bake and cook with that, I don't know. I'm very impressed with how big they got this year too. But there we are. Pop-Tarts. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. I told you need a big bowl. That's beautiful. This is what we want to see. That's happy yeast, which is going to make happy bread. Pull this back, and I like to scrape what I can off of the plastic wrap, which actually does come off pretty easily. You need a 9x13 baking sheet. Parchment. I like to give the parchment, spread a little bit of oil on it. That's just something I prefer to do. Now we're going to take this whole thing, we're going to pour it out onto the sheet. Now you're going to have to do a little bit of work here. You can see it pulls away from the bowl pretty easily because we put that oil in there, but we'll get it all. And you want to work it to the edges of your pan so that it's a pretty even flat layer. This recipe is super easy to double, which is what I have done. If you want it a little bit thicker, you can bake it in a smaller pan. It will have to bake for a little bit longer. Now, if you're not using gloves, you want to put some oil on your hands, okay? We are going to gently move this, or you can spray or oil a spatula and use that. I'm already here, so we're using hands. And just slowly move it out towards the edges until you have one nice, even layer. If it doesn't fit perfectly into every corner, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect square. Sometimes imperfection is way more beautiful than what people think is perfect. Plus, you're going to eat it. It's about taste, not just presentation. Because if something looks pretty but doesn't taste good, you're not going back for more. But if it tastes good, even if it's a little ugly, you're having seconds. All right, I've got it spread out pretty well. Now, we're going to take some extra virgin olive oil and do a light drizzle over the top. Then we're just going to kind of spread it out. You can use a spatula, you can use your hands. I'm going to use my hands because I'm wearing gloves. And just get it a little bit spread out and incorporated. Also, you're going to notice the oil is making it a lot less sticky. But sticky means happy focaccia dough. Sometimes when I'm filming videos like this, I feel like I have one of those old school Food Network cooking shows. It's not nearly as aesthetic, though neither am I. It feels like one of those ones I used to watch when I was a kid with my mom. And it brings me joy. Okay. Now, I have already chiffonaded my basil. Chiffonade is a fancy word for cut. You just take basil leaves, line them up, roll them, and cut them straight down. but it makes cutting it faster. And the beautiful tomatoes, both obviously, you know, from earlier from my garden. So I have those here. Take your fingertips, clean hands with a little bit of oil on them if you want, or like I'm using gloves. And you are just going to push your fingers into the focaccia dough. I'm going to create little dimples. It's okay if you go down into the, you know, you're pushing down to the pan. The dimples are very recognizable and like a trademark of focaccia. Okay, so now I'm going to take my basil and sprinkle it evenly over the top. Or have the majority of it stick to your glove. It's all right, it's worth the hassle. You can just touch it on. If you wanted to, you could mix the basil right into the dough. But I like mixing the garlic in and having the basil and the tomatoes on top. I quartered my tomatoes, and what I've grown are grape tomatoes. Now we're going to take them and kind of push them, like nestle them into the bread, like this. And I'm just going to go around until I run out of that. They don't have to be in like perfectly straight lines or anything. I just like to do a couple straight lines to start so that I know, because I know the way I cut it, that way every pack, if I'm selling it or gifting it, has tomato, and then I go back in and put pieces in random sections. Breads like this make fantastic gifts for like hostess gifts, for Thanksgiving, Friendsgivings. They make great Christmas gifts. It's something different. Now, we're going to take a coarse kosher salt and give a generous sprinkle over top. Now, we are going to cover this with plastic wrap and let it, once again proof, this time for 45 minutes. I know, it's a lot of work, but in this time, maybe about with half an hour left of the proof to go, turn your oven on 400, and if you leave the dough in the area with the oven, that is going to help. So check at half an hour, see how your proving is going, but it should have almost filled out the tray a little bit more, come to the edges, and be nice and puffy. But I would say 35 minutes at minimum. 45 minutes is optimal. If you're in a super dry place or it's just taking long, it's very cool, go an hour. But I'm usually pretty happy, although I have a more warm and heated environment than you do, but I'm usually pretty happy at about 30 to 35 minutes. So let's wrap it up and put it to bed. All right, it has proved for another 40 minutes. And it's puffed up and expanded. It looks glorious. This is going to go into a 400-degree oven for 25 minutes, and then we're going to check it and assess if it needs a little bit longer. 400 degrees, here we go. Bread's done. You ready to look at it? Let's look. It's cool. Are you ready to slice it? Now I cut mine in 4s, and then each 4th I cut in 3, and I put 3 big pieces in a bag. You can slice it however you want. Okay. I cannot wait, it smells amazing. But this is also kind of why I do the rows of tomatoes. That way I'm not cutting a bunch of tomatoes in half. At the end here. Ooh, look at that. Oh, smell-o-vision needs to be a thing. This is phenomenal. And if you have extra of this or you want to make it extra, this makes phenomenal croutons. So it's been baked now. Cut it up into smaller pieces. Toss it with a tiny bit of olive oil, another pinch of regular salt. Pop it in the oven. This would take tomato soup. Sprinkle some of the focaccia croutons on top of tomato soup. Grilled cheese. Salads to the next level. All right. Let me know what you think. If you like content like this and want to see more of it, then please hit the follow button, subscribe, follow me on Patreon, which is in my bio, all the things. I share recipes, I don't gatekeep, and yes, I can teach you how to bake. No matter what it is, I'm here to help. See you in the next one.